Alright folks, today we are going to balance the Weebill S. This is a very crucial part of using a gimbal, because if you don't have this right, you won't get the right power and performance out of your gimbal. So the video we're gonna see is from the Gimbal Academy, which I'm currently creating. And yes, it is coming out later this month. End of this month we are launching, and the waitlist is filling up. We got limited spots this year, so if you're interested in it, go down in the description, find the link and sign up for the email list. Alright, let's take a look at how I balance the Weebill S, and when we come back we can talk a bit more about the Gimbal Academy. Here we go. Alright, in this video we are going to go over how to balance your gimbal properly. And this is the most important step, because having a properly balanced gimbal will give you the best performance. This will be divided into two sections. This video where we are going to balance the Weebill S using the GH5, and the other where we are going to balance the Crane 3S with a bigger setup with an S1H with an accessory on the front right here. So make sure to watch both of them, because there's a difference between how I balance the Weebill S and the Crane 3S. But first let's take a look at the axis before we start. On a gimbal like this one, the Weebill S, you got 3 axes, and that goes for all gimbals in this kind of configuration. So the first axis we have up here is the tilt axis, and that is the up and down movement of the gimbal. Right here in the back we have the roll motor, and that goes sideways. And down here in the bottom we have the pan motor. This goes left to right. Now that we got this, let's take the camera and put it on the gimbal. Alright, so the first important step is that you add the base plate that you get with the gimbal onto the camera. As you can see here on the Weebill S, we have mounted it to the cage and directly under the lens. On this cage I had 2 screw holes, so I added 2 screws for better stability. If you want to add anything else, as a monitor, microphone, anything like that, cables, you will add that to the gimbal and add it to the camera before you start balancing the gimbal. If your gimbal got locks, as the Weebill S does right here, it is much easier to balance, because then you can work on one motor at a time. So right now I've got everything locked, and we'll take the camera and slide it onto the base plate. There we go. So we lock that, and it sits right here in the Weebill S. On the tilt motor right here, we got 2 options to adjust it. The adjustment on the motor, but we also got the adjustment on the base plate, and that's the one we're going to work with first. So we open that up, and then we'll try to find a place where it stays in the same position. As you can see, the tilt motor kind of sways back and forward as a pendulum. That means we have to move this one up, and we slide this one up, pointing the camera directly into the air, and try to find a place where it stays there. As soon as we find that, we'll lock that one, and then we'll rotate it back to see what it does. You can see it falls back a bit. Then we open the base plate here, there we go, and we slide this forward and see if it stays. If it stays here, now you should be able to put it in any position, and it should stay. As you can see, it stays there, but the most important thing is that it stays when it's upright. Then it's perfectly balanced. See, it doesn't move anywhere no matter what I do. So the next one is the roll motor, and it is a bit different on the Weebill S than it will be on the Crane 3S. On the Weebill S we only have one adjustment, and that is down here under the base plate. You can't adjust it on the roll motor, so we're adjusting it under the base plate. Lock that one, open this one. You can see it goes to the side. Then we'll have to slide this one in, and it's minor adjustments. So now that we have adjusted the roll motor under the base plate here, we want to see if it stays in the same position. You see, it still rolls back, but we can't adjust it anymore. Then what is wrong? Then we have to go one step back and adjust the motors and the base plate. You see, once we have adjusted this one under here, the roll motor is a bit off, and that is what makes it to pivot back. So what I would do here is that I would take this one and minor adjust it up, just a tiny tad. There we go. Let's see. Now it should be good there. Still rolls back a bit there. It stays there. Let's see if we can adjust this one. Push this one back a bit. Stays there. Still rolls back a bit. And you can keep adjusting this for a long time. And you might not get a 100% balance, but as long as you get it 90% of the way, the motors will do the rest of the work. But let's see if we can just get it 100% right here. Let's move this one back a bit there. Stays. And it stays. So now we got it 100%, and that is good. But as I said, if you can't get it 100%, 90% is good, because the motors will do the rest of the job. Let's move on to the pan axis, which is the one that people get wrong the most. Let me show you. Alright, again, I've locked the two axes right here, so I'm only working with the pan motor. What I do, I take the gimbal and extend it out in a 90-degree angle. I'm using my arm to rest the gimbal, then it's much easier to hold it. Then we open the motor. You can see it's swaying back and forward as a pendle. We don't want it to do that. So we're pushing this one up. There we go. I like to push it to the side. Then I can kind of pull it out until it stays in a 90-degree angle without falling anywhere. There we go. Let's try to lock it. Once we've done that, we'll open all the locks, and if we can point this in any direction, we have a perfect balance. You can see, no matter where I put it, it will stay there. Alright, that is how I adjust the pan motor on the Weebill S. You can adjust it a bit different as well by just tilting the gimbal, but I will go more into depth with this when we balance the Crane 3S. Alright, that is how you balance a gimbal properly. Let's power up the Weebill S and see how it works. There you go. See, it works perfectly. Alright, now there's only one thing you have to do, and that is take the gimbal and go out and practice how you balance this a couple of times so you know exactly how to do it. A great tip is, if you're going on a shoot, balance the gimbal beforehand, then the only thing you have to do is to slide the camera onto the gimbal. Alright, if you are left with any questions, you can always drop a comment down below or reach me at peter@thegimbalacademy.com. See you in the next one. Alright, so that is one of the videos from the Gimbal Academy, and this is how you balance your gimbal properly. If you got a Weebill S, a new firmware is out, 1.99. I will not go into detail of what this firmware will do, but I have to say it is very, very good. I'm creating a video about it as I used to, and it will be out later this week. Alright guys, if this is the first time you're here, remember to subscribe if you want to learn more about filmmaking with motion. And lastly, stay creative and stay safe, and if you can, go out and shoot some dope videos. See you next time.